we are developing students for the industry, career technical education, so that they become our replacements.
These young people have chosen this opportunity to get a jump start on their career.
They'll have a better idea about what they want to do and what they're good at by the time they leave high school.
There's some great opportunities for these students that are coming out of the career and technical programs from Henrico County.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Henrico CTE Now. I am Rashawn Garnett, and with me I have
Mike Roberts.
And today we are virtual podcasting, broadcasting. Same difference, right, Mike?
Pretty much.
Hey, look, and actually virtual might go along with the theme of today's episode as well when you really think about it. It was something I was thinking about when we're using technology and we're going to be talking to professionals in technology. But let me not give it away too much before we get into the show. But first, I want to remind you guys, check us out on social media: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, all at the handle Henrico CTE. And also check out the website, henricocte.com. There you can get some information on the Life Ready Expo. This one is focused on the Energy Career Cluster. So visit Henrico CTE for more information on how to get involved there as we're doing our new virtual Life Ready Expo. Mike, tell them where they can find the podcast.
The podcast is available at any of your favorite podcast venues, the major ones such as Apple, Google, Spotify, and such, and most of the minor ones too.
All right, so however you want to listen, wherever you want to listen, we have you covered. Just download your favorite listening podcast venue and search Henrico CTE Now. And you should be able to find us. We stand out amongst the crowd as far as CTE podcast go.
Still the only one.
Still the only one. Hopefully that'll grow because we gotta get the message out.
Need to get the word.
These CTE programs are across the country. And without further ado, let's get to our guest here, guys. Today we are talking with a trio of Henrico County IT professionals. One of them used to go to our A Center, and today we are speaking with Brian Viscuso, Assistant Director, Infrastructure and Operations, Kevin Poynter, IT Manager, Zane Schultz, and our former A Center student and now IT Support Specialist. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming out and joining us here virtually.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
So we heard a whole bunch of different titles just then. So what I would like to do is I would like to go around the room and just give us a brief description of basically what your average day looks like, just so folks get an idea of what you actually do behind the title, okay? And we're going to start with Brian.
Well, hi, and thank you very much, Rashawn and Michael, for having me aboard on this podcast. I think it's a great story, and happy to participate, so thank you. As my title would allude to, in IT, I'm Assistant Director over IT Infrastructure and Operations, and that's a really long title for I handle all the back-end stuff. We have another Assistant Director that handles applications and development. So in a DevOps type world, which is probably something you're covering in your CTE, I'm the ops side. And so that means the data center. So the data center, servers, storage, networking, virtualization, all of those kind of ground level things that support the IT infrastructure here at the county, that comes up through my side of the house. And then additionally, I have the IT support wing. So our IT service desk, of which both Kevin and Zane are a part of, report up through me. And also our GIS department reports up through me as well.
All right, awesome. Databases is something, Mike, that we've heard a lot about recently in the past couple of months. I know Facebook just had a database come up over on the East End over there. So, databases is certainly something we're trying to equip our students to be able to move into. All right, Kevin, can we get a little background as to what you do on the day-to-day?
My name's Kevin Poynter. I'm the IT manager for the service desk. Zane, he works for our team, and our typical day is we're in the break fix business. We're trying to keep people up and running and functional and being productive in their day-to-day job and trying to be there as a convenient service for them. We get a lot of calls in through our help desk call center. We also get a lot of emails and we go out and do a lot of hands-on touching of machines and fixing break fix type issues. We have several projects running almost all the time for, upgrades and tech refresh. And we also handle purchasing as well for the county, IT purchasing. So we stay pretty busy. We handle the court systems and their IT needs, particularly on the break fix side. Also help with projects in that area too. And Zane got some good experience with that when he was an intern, shadowing and working alongside our IT support in the courts area. And now Zane is working with our call center as well and learning a lot there and doing a really great job. So, that's kind of our day to day, keeping the folks up and running, keeping them working, and being there as a hand to help when people need help with their technical issues.
All right. And so that sounds like that it goes for Zane as well, basically what you just described there, Kevin, to a certain degree.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what he does each day.
All right. So Zane, since Kevin kind of covered that for you, can you were one of our alum of our computer systems program. Talk a little bit about how you found out about that computer system program and what made you ultimately want to sign up.
Yes, I found about the program when I was in elementary school, actually, 5th grade, and we got an opportunity to go on a field trip there, and we got to choose a few classes we wanted to look at. I chose, I think, masonry, auto body, and that class, computer systems. And I didn't really know which one I wanted to choose at the time, but when I went to computer systems, they kept telling us, hey, it's going to be something that is always changing and it's going to be something for the future. So that's what really influenced me to decide that class over the other two.
Absolutely. And they were right about that. One thing about IT is that it is always evolving and changing. And really all the fields inside of CTE do that, right, Mike? I mean, evolve and change on a constant basis.
Oh, well, the tech industry is, being a former IT manager myself, it definitely is moving at lightning speed. There's always new technology around the corner. Real quick, Zane, were you able to participate in our one of our summer programs, the summer Polytech, and be able to experience the computer technology class there?
I don't think I did. I wish I had known about it. I would have took it, but I didn't hear about it.
Okay.
I'm still glad you were able to hear about it in 5th grade and then act upon it and then, eventually
get a job.
Yes.
Getting a job in the field. And on the topic of breaking into the field, Kevin and Brian, I'm kind of curious how you guys broke into IT. So if you can kind of give us a Spark Notes version of how you broke into IT, as abbreviated as you can. And we'll start with Kevin. How did you break into IT?
Okay, well, I've always been very interested in technical stuff, even when I was a little kid. But the way that I ultimately got started was I was a musician and I wanted to learn how to record music on a computer. And so and that was in the early days of doing that kind of stuff. So I really had to stretch the technology to make it work. And it made me get really good with IT. And then, so then I moved into IT and then went on from there. That's basically how I got my feet wet.
Right. Yeah. I guess there were no Pro Tools when you were starting, huh?
No, not at all. No.
All right, Brian. So give us your career path.
I got here by way of a very different path. I went to school, actually, like I said before, I was a high school teacher, but I was a geologist by trade, hydrologist more specifically. And so I worked for a company where I was doing a lot of groundwater modeling and data analysis and things like that. So I used computers in my everyday, and I got good at it. And I became kind of the in-office computer geek support person. Anytime anybody had a problem, it was always, hey, Brian, can you come over and, take a look or fix this? And I guess one of the best things that ever, I enjoyed that career immensely, but the company got bought out. And I ended up on the street. I got laid off, right? I wasn't part of the acquisition. I wasn't in that plan. And so I went, because I had this and I was living in RTP at the time. So as you know, the Raleigh-Durham area is a really hotbed for IT. It was just starting up then. And I took some classes in Novell administration, got certified as a certified Novell admin. and got snapped up by a government contracting company right away, and that's how I broke in.
Awesome. Sounds like you kind of fell into it, but you always had a growing passion that after you got into the working world. And sometimes that's how it happens, right, Mike? It's always interesting to hear people's career paths, and we like to do it on this show just to let people know that it's not always a straight line. Life throws stuff at you. You have to adapt, but somehow people end up where they need to be, where they're passionate about something. So,
well, it's just things become available. Things get put in front of you. It's like just like with your situation with with your job and the career path you were on. You ended up with something coming up that kind of changed things and shook things up, and you were able to do a little shift to the left and back out and doing it again and going on the new path. It happens a lot more than people think of.
Yeah, adaptation is definitely the name of the game when it comes to life. So Zane, once in the computer systems program, let's talk a little bit about your experience there. What were you able to learn in computer systems, and what kind of certifications were you able to acquire there?
I was able to learn basic help desk information that I needed to do this job that I have now, and I was able to get my feet wet in basic networking, security, and a lot of it was just job kind of job experience. How to deal with people, how to ask questions, and who your resources are. And we got the opportunity to take the CompTIA A+ certification for free. I didn't pass it the first time. I was signed up to retake it again, but the COVID happened and we didn't get to go back and take it. But I'm definitely going to make sure I get that exam taken care of and move on to the next.
Yeah, well, best of luck to you in the pursuit of that CompTIA A+ certification. From what I understand, and maybe Brian and Kevin can shine some light on this, that's a pretty important entry-level certification when you're trying to get into IT.
Yeah, it definitely does help. Definitely, because it basically shows that you have the basics, and it especially if you're looking for a job, you can say that, hey, I've done this.
Yeah, I think the completion of that certificate, yes, it shows you have skills, right? But I think, Mike, you probably in your experience know there's a lot of people who have lots of certificates, but they're book smart. They're not actual everyday smart. But I think more than that, though, too, is the fact that you're going to pursue getting the certificate shows you have the drive, you have the initiative, that you finish something that you started is part of that. And that would go for any certificate, not just the CompTIA one.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kevin and Brian, let's talk about some of the skills that you guys think are necessary to succeed in this field. Both of you had some have some time in the actual field. So what do you think, Brian, are some skills necessary? And then Kevin, I'll wait for your response after that. What are some skills necessary to be successful in IT, no matter where you're going?
Well, after all I've got 26 plus years in the field. And for me, what I actually look for is not the technical skills. To me, what's more important are the soft skills, the interpersonal skills, being able to do customer service like Zane. He excels at that. He's like a duck to water. I mean, he's just got the right personality for doing that. And you got to have the personal drive, right? You've got to want to do better for both yourself and your customers. That's what the IT is, a service industry, and a lot of people don't realize that. But it's just like working in restaurants or anything else. It's a very service-based. So to me, those soft skills will take you further and faster than your technical skills. Your technical skills will get you in the door, but it's what you do with them once you get there is what differentiates you from your peers and your competition, and will absolutely take you, I think, further, unless you're like a highly specialized propeller head in a particular discipline.
Because you got to look at the people that you're helping are your customers, and I think that in the earlier years, I think that you had a lot of people that had technical skills, but they didn't have the personal skills, the soft skills of dealing with individual users in a manner that made them feel comfortable, so that you could help them in a better way. Right. But I think that's definitely changing now.
So that mold is broken. The computer nerd in the basement with the low lights and in their hovel and doing their own little thing, that's not it. You know, you need your extroverted people because it's a people industry, right? Technology is just a solution set for accomplishing goals, but you have to work with people to make that happen.
Exactly.
I mean, it's literally becoming a part of everybody's life. And Kevin, what do you think helps someone trying to break into the industry ultimately be successful?
Well, I also echo what Brian was saying about the soft skills. But I think to add on to that, I think you need to have, when you're dealing with people in a service situation and they are having a problem and they're trying to get their work done and they're under pressure to get something done, and you're there to help them with what appears to be a roadblock for them, you need to have empathy. I think that's a big piece of it, of the soft skills. You need to put yourself in their place and see the frustration they're dealing with, and not just fix the problem, but understand the issue overall that they're facing, and try to empathize with them as well as have the technical skills. The key is to support what Brian was saying is, yes, those soft skills are very important. Another thing I'd like to say too is I found that people who are passionate about IT, who just like it anyway, who, if they're passionate about something, they tend to be good at it. You know, if it's something that they like to do, even outside of work, you know, they just it's what they enjoy. So when they go meet that person who's having an issue, it's not a chore for them. It's like, oh, I get to tell somebody about something I'm passionate about and help them. And so I think that's really the secret to success in a service-based IT role.
The people that do technology outside of work. So if you got a home lab, you got more than one PC, you're connecting up things at your house so you can automate, and that's it. You've got that mindset. You're already there. The half the battle is already won. You're in good shape.
Right.
Half of what led to you getting this job here, Zane, was you were able to participate in our career rodeo. Just talk a little bit, Zane, about what it was like, if you can recollect, actually participating in our career rodeo. And the career rodeo, for the folks listening at home, is basically we had a huge group of students prior to the pandemic get together and showcase their skills for employers. So it was really like a reversed career night where the employers got to come out and see some of the skills that our students are learning in the classroom. So Zane, just talk a little bit about your experience with the career rodeo.
It's a good opportunity, you know, to show what you know hands-on and how you are with communicating with other people so that you can actually get a job. You know, that was the whole goal of taking this class, you know, to get a job right out of high school or career, if you can call it a career. And when I went there, you know, I didn't have the best grades in the class at the time. I was doing well. I was turning my work in on time, trying my best I could. And the rodeo just, it gave me that extra boost that, hey, I'm doing just as well as everyone else, but I just got to keep my head in there and keep going. And I talked to a bunch of people, you know, that wanted to hire me. And I was walking around and people were still coming up to me. And then I talked to Travis, and he was from the county. And Travis was like, hey, we're going to offer you an internship. No one else offered me an internship. They just offered me jobs. We want you here. We want you now. But, you know, he offered the internship, and that was that gave me the option to, you know, learn more, not just start a job and be stuck there. It gave me the opportunity to move on, and that's what I liked about that.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like you like the opportunity to try it before you buy it.
Yep.
Travis Sparrow, Kevin, that is one of your colleagues. And so just talk about the feedback that you maybe heard, Kevin, from Travis when you heard about possibly bringing Zane on board as an intern.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Travis had been to the rodeo, and he gave me Zane's resume and told me how impressed he was with him. One of the things he told me was, he says, hey, this guy was really excited about this, and he was doing a really good job, and he was helping other people there, helping the other techs and the other people. And I said, wow, that's great. I'd love to talk to him. And then what I want to say about what to echo what Zane was saying about the internship, I think the thing that was great about the internship, both for Zane and for us, the county, was Zane got to spend a lot of time being mentored by people who've been in the field a long time, who have strong soft skills, and he could learn that from them, along with technical skills. And because Zane had strong technical skills to begin with, but he got to get some firsthand real life experience alongside seasoned people, where I think outside of an internship, they may just say, okay, here's a job. I want you to get this done, go knock it out. But you may not get that mentorship that
Right.
and it's paid off in spades for us. Because Zane has come in and done a great job, and we were able to, train him the way that works out well for the county as well. So it was a win-win for everybody.
Hey, so Zane, can you comment on that? You were able to kind of get taken under the wing by some of the more seasoned IT professionals inside of Henrico County. How does that affect your day-to-day and what you do today?
Yes, it really took what I learned in the classroom and brought it to life. There was things that I didn't really understand in the classroom, but once I actually got to sit down with someone who has been doing it for a while, I learned like, oh, I know what that is. That's this and that's that. And it really it helps you see, is this really for me? You get to see what the person you're mentoring under is, if they're going through stress, if they're where they get caught up on problems. You really get to see where they make mistakes, and you learn from that basically.
Yep, it sounds like it's also a huge confidence boost, Mike. I mean, we hear all the time, especially when we're talking to the students. They're worried about getting there and just all of a sudden just not having the skills to keep the job once they get into the door. This internship sort of, it sounds like, Zane, installed some confidence in you as you moved into the profession.
Oh yes.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it also helped him with a lot of the soft skills, because you can sit there and be in a class and learn all the technical aspects, and you can be told that you've got to and how to interact with the people that you're helping, but actually standing there next to somebody who's mentoring you while they're working with the customer, so to speak, working on their hardware, their software problems. You get to see how they're doing it, so that you're learning even those aspects, those essential skills that a lot of times are not always at the top, listed at the top. You don't look at somebody's resume and looking for the soft skills. You're looking for their practical skills, their technical skills. And Zane, I'd like to know, when on that aspect of those essential skills, we're also talking, there's a whole lot of conversation in the past months, this summer, about essential careers. How do you think CTE affects students like yourself when it comes to being able to get the skills and the knowledge for those essential careers? How do you see that how did CTE help you?
It opens up a variety of options. Even though if you take a class or take a program that you don't enjoy, I've seen some students that have been in other classes than me. They took classes they haven't enjoyed, but they got their eyes open to other things. They talk to me, they talk to some of my other friends in classes, and they realize there's other classes and here's what they do. But even though if you take a program and you're not going to have that as your career, you always have a background in something, and you can always fall back on that if need be.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Rashawn and I have talked about many a times. CTE you take a CTE class, it's not always about teaching you how to get ready for that career. It may teach you that this isn't the career that I thought I wanted. Right. And so it's something you got to try in high school, and you don't end up either one in college or two in that career where you're like, this is not where I thought this was taking me. And then
that's a valuable lesson in itself, right, Mike? Yeah. I mean, knowing what you finding something that you like is great, but also finding out that this may not be for you certainly saves you some time in the long run. Running up against the clock here, because I know Brian has to go, but I want to ask you guys a question in closing, Brian and Kevin. How have you guys seen the IT field evolve during your experience here in IT? And what do you think we can do to help students adapt to that evolution?
Well, for me, the change has been so dramatic. Again, I came up, VAX mainframes and programming on punch cards and COBOL and Fortran, things that don't, Fortran and COBOL are still around, but they're dead for the most part. But, I watched the commercial internet come to life on dial-up modems. And then now we have cloud services, right? PaaS, IaaS, SaaS services. We have things like machine learning and artificial intelligence, things that were only in science fiction books, when I was growing up. And so they're here now. They're very much a reality. And so I think for me, for students to succeed, technology is quickly, it's fanning out, right? It used to be fairly narrowed focused, and now it's fanning out, and there's a ton of disciplines, but within each one of those, there's like swim lanes, right? You got to kind of choose. And I think for folks to be successful, it's okay to come in kind of where Zane is now, kind of this broadband IT support. He's kind of seeing how the IT operations work all together. And then you start picking and choosing, hey, this sounds interesting to me. This is kind of cool, but you're going to find yourself in IT quickly finding your swim lane. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be a programmer? Do you want to be a DBA? Do you want to be an infrastructure guy, a network, tech, those kind of things. And, but just as Zane said, and actually, Rashawn, you referred to it, it's find something you like, right? Because you don't want to grind. You want a job that you want to come to every day and isn't a grind. So if you get into you think, oh man, I love programming, and you're 2 semesters into it or a year into it, and you're like, wow, I hate this, get out. But you might like networking. You might like something else, and I think the other thing too is IT is no longer that realm of the geeks, so to speak. There's a lot of cross-discipline opportunities. If you're really into math, guess what? Data analytics, nothing could be hotter than data analytics right now. And the same thing, there's a ton of room for spatial sciences, things like mapping, right? And GIS. GIS is another huge opportunity field. So if you like something that's more spatial, there's opportunity for you in IT. So you got to kind of think outside of the boundaries and think, well, I really have an interest that's here. It's not classical IT, but I guarantee you there's a connector to an IT pathway there. You just got to kind of find it. And the industry is great that way because it's evolving and changing so fast, as Mike alluded to earlier. What may not be there today, just wait 18 months. It'll be there. I guarantee it'll be there. And so, but on top of all that, though, I would say you always have to be mindful of the basics. And that is I know you guys teach these in the CTE, like the OSI model, right? You got to know your OSI model. You have to understand the basics of computers on, memory and CPU and all those other things and disk drives, and understanding of things, believe it or not, of like binary code, because it all comes down to binary code. If you don't understand or have those concepts wrapped in your mind and understand those, it will make it hard to figure out what's going on, because it's always good to understand what's in the background behind a technology to be successful in any part of IT. In my opinion, those are the building blocks. But I guess that's my 50,000 foot view of it.
All right, and Kevin.
Wow, Brian covered a lot. So I'm going to say,
lead you anything.
Yeah, I'm going back to what I said earlier, and I want to reemphasize this. Well, first of all, I want to say the industry has changed a lot in that back in the old days, even 10 years ago, or maybe or so, I mean, it used to be that IT was not entwined in your everyday life. It was, it was at work and you dealt with it at work. But now it's entwined in your everyday life, particularly young folks, in their 20s or younger. I mean, it's like, I look at what my kids do now. I mean, their day-to-day involvement in IT is probably higher than most of, technical people I worked with, 20 years ago. And that's just their day-to-day. But I think the difference here is, so what it takes to be successful, going back to what I said before, is you must be passionate about IT. that is the key. Like all the things that Brian was talking about learning. Well, if you're passionate about that, you're going to be driven to learn that stuff because you're going to need it to do all the things you want to do. And I also want to echo what Brian was saying too. If you get into a field that you don't enjoy, move to a different field in IT and see if you enjoy that. Because having that passion about technology and coming to work every day doing something you enjoy and like, that is the key to success.
Absolutely. And I want to say thank you so much to Brian Viscuso, Kevin Poynter, and my man Zane Schultz, our alum here. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on Henrico CTE Now.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks for having us.
All right. And before we close, guys, I want to remind you, check us out on our social media, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, all at the handle Henrico CTE. Don't forget to check out the website, henricocte.com. There you can get more information on the Life Ready Expo. This expo in particular this section of the expo, I should say, is going to be focused on careers in the energy field. Okay, Mike, tell them where they can find the podcast.
Podcast is available on any of your major and minor podcast venues. So look us up, like us, and share and subscribe and all those fun things along there, so that everybody knows that where we're doing it.
Yep. So every time we drop a new episode with some more information like we just got here, you'll be able to access it. All right, guys, that's it for us here. For Brian Viscuso, for Kevin Poynter, for Zane Schultz, for Mike Roberts, I'm Rashawn Garnett. This has been Henrico CTE Now. Until next time, so long, everyone.